Well, today is the day. I'm finally going to break down and clean this track a completely different way than what I'm used to doing. And hopefully it will solve some of my problems that I have on here. This is my N-scale layout, and I have been having some difficulty with locomotives slowing down, getting sluggish in certain areas. And I know it's not track power because I have plenty of drop leads throughout this entire section and everything still is containing power, but the track is just not staying clean enough. Now, let's kind of go over what I've had in the past, what I'm using, and what I'm going to try to use. As you can see right up front, we've got the Woodland Scenics Tidy Track. I have used that even including on my HO scale layout. It works great for lightly dusting off stuff or getting burrs off the track if you use some of the heavier pads and everything else. It does an okay job. Then I turned around and even for the N scale, I broke down and I got this CMX N scale track cleaner that is right in behind here. It works really well. Contains a little pad on the bottom side that you put on that you can actually get the track clean with and everything. Seems to work fairly decent. Problem is going around turnout areas. That can become a little bit of an issue. It likes to jump off of that because of the pad base there is just so wide that it makes it almost too much. So right in here, the width of it, I don't know if you can catch it on the camera, but the width of this is just a hair too wide, that on the Atlas Snaptrack turnouts, it catches it too much, so it will try to jump off of that. So I have to manually kind of go around those a little bit and clean those up. I've also tried this Bachmann Easy Lube to run through it. It doesn't do bad. And when I clean the track for the first time using that product, it works great and it will stay running consistently for quite a while. But then I can power it down and the next day it's just dirty and it just never seems to operate 100%. So today we're going to try something a little different. Like I said, I've run this. This I'll definitely use to keep the felt deals on it and to help clean off the track and whatnot. I'm not opposed to still using those. I'm still not opposed to using the track cleaner, the car and everything else. But now we are going to try one. We're going to clean the track with mineral spirits. You can also make sure it's low odor or no odor if you're going to use it, especially in the house. And then I've also done some research for another gentleman that actually did this. This is using No Ox ID A Special. And it helps promote connectivity and no arcing on your track when using it. Now, the only problem that has been stated, I've seen this on a couple different YouTube channels, but the one that comes to mind is from Ron's Trains and Things, and he made mention about using traction tires, and it can, gum those up a little bit if you're not careful. So you got to be a little cautious with that, but if you use it light and sparingly, you should do great. So this is going to be my first time doing this with that. All right, so I'm going to be using just a standard shop towel that you can get from any of your big box stores. And we're going to go through, and I'm just going to use my fingertip on this, but to go through. And as you can kind of see, it's hard to tell, but just me wiping that little tiny bit, you can see I've already got black, build up from there. So what you're going to want to do is just ever so slightly dab your piece down, get it lightly wet, and you're going to want to run over your track. Try to keep it even, uniform. Try not to press, you know, you're wanting to press straight down on the track piece itself. Try not to go in between. You don't want to take out any of your wonderful scenery or anything else. But as you can see, we've built up quite a bit already just from cleaning just that little tiny bit. So once you go through all this, and that one's really gotten bad, you can really see the line off of that down there just perfectly. So as we've already gotten that cleaned up, now we're going to turn around and I want to take a dry towel and go back over the exact same spots again. Reason being is I really want that thing cleaned off the absolute best we possibly can. The residue from the mineral spirits is not as harsh and abrasive as, say, like lacquer thinner. And it also depends on the brands. The brand that I really like to use that I haven't been able to find is called Clean Strip, because it doesn't leave near as bad of a residue, but the places around here were kind of out of that, so I had to use this Sunnyside brand. And watch your fingers too. If you want to turn around and put some gloves on, you certainly can. I deal with chemicals on my hands most of the day, so I mean, gloves would help. You can see some white little residue in my fingertips and stuff like that just from, because it dries out the oil that's in your hands. And that's what it's doing. It's picking up the oil off of the track. And so now that that's done and it's dry, now we're going to turn around and go back through, and we're going to use, like I said, this No-Ox and brand new bottle. Haven't even touched this yet. Literally all you're doing is dabbing just a little bit. You can see, because of course my white finger, and now you've got just that little tiny bit. There is not much buildup on that at all. I literally just tapped to put my fingerprint on it, and that's all I'm carrying. Now you're going to lightly take your finger, just ever so slightly, run it across the track, and that is all you are doing. You're not putting a huge amount on it, not a major buildup, just a little bit on there. Run it back and forth. All right, now that you've got that part done, the next thing that you're going to do is take another towel. You can also use those little dry dirt deals, and you can go across that too. Handkerchief works as well. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using those. But what you want to do is you want to take your fingertip again, go across the top part of the rail. Each rail is separate. Never turn around and try to go down the center. You'll make a mess of everything. But just go on the top part of that rail, clean it down, get it good, make sure it's all decent, and rub it along again on the other rail. And then that should be decent enough. While that's setting up, that little section of track is setting up, I'm going to go ahead and kind of work on some of the rest of the track and get that done, and then we'll come back and show a little bit more as I'm trying out the trains. So. let's give this thing a shot. I'm going to use my Fox Valley Iowa Interstate 501. This one, once it gets running, it runs great, but for the most part, just the initial couple times is a little difficult. So we're going to give this thing a shot. Let it run around the track, see how it works here, and see if it runs okay, or if I've got any kind of issues. And I guess the proof will depend on how it runs. So here we go, and we'll see what happens. Keeping it fairly slow, because the slower it is, I keep my controller at a 28 step, and it generally tends to be at about anywhere from 5 to 6 or even lower. That's where I have the interrupts and everything else. But here we go. We've made one full loop on the track. We're going to run it one more time around this one, and we're going to kick it on the inside loop. But I am really happy with that. Smooth. It's going great. I am on speed step number 6 right now for that. And like I said, it seems to be working very, very well. I'm happy with this right now. Let's go ahead and I will get all the other cars added on. So give me just a second. Alright, so I've got all the freight cars hooked up. And now we will give this thing a little bit of a go and see how well it does. Again, we are back on speed step 6. That looks great. Nice and smooth. Exactly what I was hoping for. Seems to be running really, really well. I'm really happy with it. So, yeah, if you guys are interested in cleaning your track and being able to hopefully have good connectivity, like I said, I have done this and I've been running into some major issues. So I decided to give this no aux a special, a quick gather. You can buy this from Amazon. Anyway, it is, again, part number 10222. It's a 2-ounce little tub. Now, I bought this as a 2-pack from Amazon. So it's not really that bad a price or anything, and I've been really surprised with it. So here we are, one full day later after I had cleaned the track, and we are going to give my Iowa Interstate another run and see how it holds up with the layout. Hopefully this works out to my benefit. Again, we are going back on speed step number 6, and we will let it run around a couple times and see how it holds up. Hopefully we don't have any issues. Nice and smooth. I'm very happy with that. So my personal grading of using the No-Ox, I would give it an A, maybe an A minus, just because of a little bit of greasy residue if you don't get it, if you put too much of it on. So be really cautious of that as you are putting this product down. Don't go overboard on the areas. Make sure it's nice and light, and it will work great. Like I said, if you need to get back into the tunnel areas, I've got little pockets that you can get back into, as you've seen in the video. If you don't, if you want to, you could actually take my little tidy track here, use some of the white deals, and of course, as you can see, the dirt and debris that's been on some of the old track. But you could use some of these newer ones and put just a little tiny dab onto this, and it would have to be small, but just enough that you could run this down on your track surface and everything else. So make sure that if you need to get into your tunnels or something like that, that may be an option, but you would have to be really light with that. Do not over soak that. I can't express that enough. Otherwise you're going to have some really big problems with traction and performance of your trains. So just real light to make the connectivity there and solid, and it will do great. So something like that where you can just lightly tap it on there, and then of course you're going to have to go back over it, so you're going to need some new ones, dry, or maybe you can lightly take a handkerchief, wrap this thing, and go back over your track on the inside there. So again, thank you for watching. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Hit the like and subscribe if you like the video, and we'll catch you on the next one.